Hey guys, it's Rod from Civil Advantage Firearms Training here. Something I want to address today is how to examine the bore for obstructions on a firearm. As you guys know, I'm an instructor for the Canadian Firearm Safety course. So that's a government course to get a firearms license in Canada. And in the course, we have to examine the bore for obstructions to make sure there's nothing in there because, as you know, firearms generate a lot of pressure, and if you have any kind of obstruction or restriction in the barrel, you can have the expanding gases come back through the action at you, or bulge the barrel, or blow the firearm up completely, or split the barrel, absolutely, or the thing could turn into a grenade in your face. So any of those things can happen, or it just sounds weird and you keep on rolling and you don't even know it, right? So it's unpredictable, and that's bad when it comes to firearms. So yeah, inspecting the bore is important. In the firearm safety course, we typically do it one of two ways. We either do our action, look, touch, meaning that we're cycling the action. We bring the firearm right up to our face. We look right into the chamber, make sure that there's nothing in there. We do a touch, meaning I'm going to put my finger right into the chamber to make sure that in case I've been drinking, or it's dark, or I'm exhausted and out in the bush, or God knows whatever real life conditions that exist, that I'm not missing around in the chamber because it was dark and I was, didn't have my glasses on if I wore glasses or whatever, right? So we're looking, touch, and now we're going to check the bore for obstructions. So I was taught by the master instructor that certified me, who is ex-federal police, RCMP up here in Canada. And he said, you check the bore for obstructions by looking down the muzzle. Now don't fool yourselves, and don't let anybody tell you any different. That is 100% okay. It is 100% okay in all circumstances to look down the barrel of a gun. And I know, you can hear I kind of have a little bit of emotion in my voice because I just got into an argument a little while ago with another instructor about that. Now, here's the deal, is that a firearm without ammunition in it is only heavy. It's also kind of long, like a baseball bat. I got to really whack somebody with this thing. That's as dangerous as it is. A firearm with no ammunition is like a car with no gas, right? It's going nowhere. So it's totally fine. If you do things right, like cycle the action, meaning that if there was ammunition there, it's getting spit out. Then I do a look. If there was ammunition still in there, I'm going to see it. But maybe I'm wildly stupid and maybe I'm hammered. I'm out on a camping trip and I'm gunned out of my skull. Okay, I look, I miss it. I put my finger in there, and I'm like, dunk. I'm still too stupid. Then my last line of defense is to check the bore for obstruction. Now, if I've missed all that, and it's still loaded, somehow, let's just say somehow, and I look down the bore and it's dark, I know something's wrong, right? I'm not going to close the action, put my finger on the trigger, and then look down there, right? So it's totally safe. I'm going to do it for you right now, okay? I'm going to pick up the firearm, safest available direction, which right now is going to be that way. Cycle the action, look, touch, and check the bore for obstructions. And it's totally fine. That's okay to do. So I got into it with another instructor, and he's like, oh no, you never, oh no, oh, I can't even believe it. You never do that. I don't know how it got into the firearm safety course. Oh, I've been trying to get that out of there for 10 years. Oh, you just never do it. And I'm like, okay. All right, calm down, man. Take it easy, all right? It's okay. If you can walk in front of a parked car when nobody's in it, it's parked on a hill, then you can look down the barrel of a gun when you made sure that there's no ammunition in it. Now, let me continue on the line though. So the other way in the Canadian Firearm Safety course that we check is we take a cleaning rod, right? And we throw the cleaning rod down the barrel, down the muzzle end, and if there's a round there, it'll get knocked out, or we can see, yeah, it comes through, whatever, right? Here's the thing. How many hunters do you see running along in the forest with a great big freaking cleaning rod dangling out of their pocket? You don't see it. I don't have a cleaning rod anywhere. Like, I have one when I'm at the range, but when I'm out in the bush shooting, I may have brought a cleaning kit, but I don't leave the cleaning rod out, sitting there. And to be honest with you, I don't check the bore for obstructions every single time I shoot the gun anyway. So it's not a real life practical way to examine the bore for obstructions. Now, what's important is, yes, if I do my look, touch, check do my action, look, and touch, yeah, the gun's safe and I can put it away. I'm fine with that. The reason why you would check the bore for obstructions, and this is serious business, is that if there's anything in there, you can have pressure build up in the barrel, as you guys know, and those gases are coming out somewhere and they cannot be stopped. So if they couldn't make it out of the barrel itself, it's coming back through the action at you, and you can shatter your bolt, you can bulge the barrel, or this thing can blow up like a hand grenade in your face. Or it can just make a weird sound and some of the parts are broken in there, right? It's unpredictable, which is bad when you're talking about firearms. We need predictable, repeatable results when we're dealing with firearms. So a situation that can occur is when you mix up ammunition, say in your pocket or your gear, 20 gauge and 12 gauge. So you instructors of the Canadian Firearms Safety course or anybody that's taken the full course knows that a 20 gauge shell will, if you put a 20 gauge shotgun shell in a 12 gauge shotgun, it'll fall down into the barrel and the end of the cartridge will get caught on the forcing cone. So basically right here on the shotgun. So now you've got a 20 gauge shell. And what happens with guys, and this is an accident that used to happen before the course, is they'll port load one, they'll be like hammered and they'll be wasted and they're out in the bush just being irresponsible and they, okay, pull. And they pull the trigger, nothing happens. And then they open the action, they look, and there's nothing there. And they look down like this and you can't see it because it's 3 inches into the barrel. They're like, oh man, I think I must be totally hammered. And they port load a 12 gauge shell that was in their pocket as well. They close the action, they go, okay, pull. They start tracking that clay, they pull the trigger, and now they have a dead obstruction in the barrel right here. They have a 3-inch shotgun shell, God forbid it was a slug. Okay, so you got a 20 gauge shotgun shell as a dead obstruction in the barrel with the primer facing forward towards where the projectiles are coming from. Then you've got another shotgun shell right behind it. Okay, twice the load that this barrel is rated for and an obstruction in the barrel. Okay, this thing is going to blow up in your face and take your hands off and blind you. So, Rod, how often does that happen? That sounds like the most ridiculous thing. Well, it does happen. And here's an interesting thing. I was doing Canadian Firearms Safety course. We were doing the practical side of it. And I had a student, and he's doing his practical test. I guess he was like third in line or whatever. So he gets up there, and he loads 2 rounds of the correct ammunition, as he was instructed to do, closes the action. He's standing here like this. I'm like, okay, well, unload, make safe. So, right, look, touch, and he checks the bore for obstructions. And it looks like this. And I'm standing there, and I've told this story a million times, so if you've been in my class, you've heard me tell the story, right? And I'm standing there going like, let's go, man, I got things to do tonight, right? Let's move it along, right? And it looks like 3 times down the barrel. And he's like, I can't see through it. So not even thinking, I'm like, what's your problem, right? What do you mean you can't see through it? I'm standing right here, and of course you can see through it. So I'm like, let me have it for a second. I look down, it's dark. And right away I knew. I have a break action, 20 gauge shotgun. I have the 12 gauge shotguns. I got the SKS, I got whatever else on the table. I knew it was a 20 gauge shell. I go, watch this. And I hit this thing on the butt and that 20 gauge shell pops out. So fine, that wasn't live ammunition and it wasn't in the real world, but a 20 gauge shotgun shell made its way from a student's hands into this gun with a 12 gauge shell right behind it. So if that was in the real world, life-changing event. Now, he did his action, he did his look and his touch, and he didn't see anything, and nor would he. It's 3 inches down the stinking barrel, guys. Okay, the only way that he knew that was in there is because he looked down the barrel. Okay, I know it's long-winded, but it's a really important thing to note. Now, you don't have to look down the barrel if you don't want to. It's up to you, right? But when I do a full-on safety check, I will look down the muzzle end. Military will do that, depending on the unit, to make sure that their firearm is safe and they can, or clean, and they can look down the muzzle end. They can see the rifling, or they can see if there's dirt or something in there. Police will do it. If they've been tracking somebody through the bush or chasing somebody and there's a bunch of crap in their firearm, yeah, you got to look down the muzzle to inspect the bore. Okay, so it's up to you guys, and I'm sure this is one of those things where safety fanatic guys that think they know it all, none of us know it all, okay, none of us. They're going to get on, they're going to comment, it's like, oh, you never look down the barrel. Another guy's going to go, you always look down the barrel. But anyway, I just thought I wanted to kind of throw that out there because it is something. I contacted another instructor that I worked with, and he goes, no, I don't look down the barrel. Muzzle direction is everything. And I said, well, you know what? I totally agree with you. Muzzle direction is everything. So he wasn't into looking down the barrel, but he goes, I'm not going to agree with you, but I'm also not going to disagree with you. And I think that was a wise position. I'm not going to disagree with guys that say, yeah, cleaning rod or don't ever look down there, but I'm not going to agree either. So it's kind of a gray area there. So it's up to you if you want to do it. But if you do that, I've given you some very good reasons why you would, and reasons that could save your life someday. Okay, so don't let people tell you that you never, under any circumstances, would look down the muzzle. Absolutely you would, to make sure that there's nothing in the stinking barrel. So sorry for being a little emotional about it, but it's, you know, in the firearms community, I think in any community where you have guys that are really into something, everyone seems to think that they're an expert and they want to tell somebody else. None of us are know everything. None of us are the last, you know, expert on earth, right? We're all just moving through this whole adventure as best we can, picking up the knowledge that we can. So hopefully I've contributed a little bit to you guys on looking down the muzzle, whether it's a good idea or not. If you have comments, please put them below, and that's about it. So once again, it's Rod. You can look us up on the web at www.civiladvantage.com, and we'll see you next time.